You ever wonder why foolish men love noise?
Why they love to be loud and boisterous, and why they hate it when you try to be quiet and still. Here's the answer. It has everything to do with their fragile ego and their need for attention. You see, these men, they're like children in a playground. They need to be the center of attention at all times. And the way they get that attention is by being the loudest, most obnoxious person in the room. They think that if they can just be louder than everyone else, then people will finally notice them. But it's all just a big act, a desperate attempt to cover up their insecurities. Being quiet and still, that takes confidence. It takes a certain level of self-assurance to be able to sit with your own thoughts. But these men, they can't handle silence. It makes them feel awkward and uncomfortable, so they fill the void with noise. Any noise, just to drown out the silence. Now, you might be thinking that I'm talking about extroverted people, but that's not the case. There's a difference between being an extrovert and being a fool. Extroverts, they love to be around people. They thrive on social interaction, but they can also be quiet and still when the time calls for it. Fools, on the other hand, they're the ones who disrupt the peace. They're the ones who start fights for no reason. They love to argue just for the sake of arguing. They love to show off their aggression because it makes them feel powerful. But here's the thing. Real power comes from within. It's not something that you have to show off with your fists or your loud mouth. Real power is being able to control yourself. To be still and quiet when the situation calls for it. But these men, they're too weak to handle their own power. They're too afraid to sit with their own thoughts. So they run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Always making noise. Always trying to be the center of attention. The good news is that you don't have to be like them. You can be powerful without being loud. You can be confident without being obnoxious. It's not about being someone else. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's about embracing the power that comes from within. So don't waste your time trying to be like those foolish men. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself. Be still and quiet when the time calls for it. And when you do speak, let your words be few and your meaning be clear. That is the mark of a true leader. Not the loudest person in the room, but the one who commands respect and attention without even trying. If you want to succeed in life, you can't afford to be a fool. You must learn to be wise and discerning. So stop acting like a fool. Start acting like a man of wisdom and see how your life transforms before your very eyes.